feel comfortable, just lower your eyes and let yourself go inside. And first of all, just feel yourself sitting on your chair, on your couch, on floor, wherever you are. Just feel how you're being held by the floor or couch or chair. And feel that contact of your buttocks and legs, and perhaps back with your seat. And then have a sense of opening yourself to the breath traveling in. So the invitation is to not change the breath, do anything with breathing. The invitation is, how much can I receive the breath exactly as she travels in to caress my body on the in-breath and caress my body on the out-breath. So just joining your friend, the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. When there are thoughts or feelings, sensations, no problem. You don't have to get rid of them. Just bring your attention in a very kind way back to breathing. And perhaps you notice that when you bring your attention to the natural flow of breathing, that in a very natural way your nervous system, your mind starts calming. So let's stay a little longer with the air traveling in and joining the air traveling in and the air traveling out. And perhaps you also notice while you're joining your friend, the breath, that there's something simultaneously very, very still There's breathing, perhaps some thoughts and feelings and sensations, and also there is already something very, very still. Something is already meditating, something is already resting without you doing anything. So see if you notice that in the midst of you and all around you, there is already something resting. There is this presence of being, this silent being resting in the midst of you and all around you. So see if you can bring your attention there to this one being that's resting, this presence. Perhaps you feel your shoulders relax and your face becomes softer. Your belly becomes softer. It's almost like the flesh sinks into the resting of this being. And there's breathing, resting, and tasting this presence that you are. Perhaps some thoughts fly around. Please see, this is really important. Please see, it's all simultaneously rising. There's nothing you need to get rid of. All is rising and falling into this one being that you are, that's always resting. So feel this one being that you are, this presence. It's very still and very alive in and around your body, like a field of being. Breathing, being, resting, being. Stay present, stay here. This place of resting. It's not really a place, but let's call it a place. This is home. When you tap into this resting every day, it will grow. Even though it is already immense and incomprehensible. And if it's not realized yet, we kind of need to tap into that daily as a practice to let it grow on us and stick on us. It's the most beautiful practice one can do in a lifetime, is to rest in and as being. Rest in and as awareness. As the home ground. Feel how that's here. Feel how that's silence, that presence that's here is pointing to that awareness. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. It's resting, letting yourself fall into the arms of this one being. Many bodies, one being. If you notice you're getting a little fidgety or you want to move, see what it's like to hold your body still in a very kind way. Not uptight, like, oh, I need to hold still, how you perhaps learned in school or something. Now here is like a sense of holding your body open in a relaxed and still way, while still receiving the utmost resting of this one being everywhere. And perhaps it's good to just kind of say hello to this one being. Just good morning. Hello. Even though it's you, it's yourself, say hello every day, and then to listen. That's what meditation is to say good morning and hello to your true nature in a way. And then to listen. What wants to be revealed from the mystery of your own true nature. And then just let it all go and gently open your eyes and receive what kind of touches your eyes. Receive what touches your skin, what touches your heart, what enters into your consciousness when you have your eyes open. What truly happens here? Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon or evening. I think it's always wonderful to meet in this way and to meet in Satsang. What really means, Satsang really means being in the company of truth. So I hope we are here in the company of truth with your own self and with each other. And to become, to really enter into the company of truth, first we need to see for ourselves, how much am I actually resting and living as this truth? How much am I actually resting here and living this truth, this love? And not in a judgmental way, like, well, how much am I resting there? Well, I'm actually not resting enough. I should be. No, it's more out of like, gee, how much am I resting there? How much of the day do I spend my time there? How much of the day do I spend my time in other realms, so to speak, in the realm of, small mind? Or perhaps I rest in this realm, in the company of truth, with myself, because it starts all with ourselves, We need to be really selfish, capital S, selfish. It's healthy to be selfish, especially on the spiritual path. First, it's just about spending time with yourself. So I come home in myself first, kind of find out like, what am I? Am I these thoughts? Am I these feelings? Am I this body? Am I this mind? Is that actually true? Is that what I am? Or am I something different? What is this? So then it's really an invitation to start listening to what is within. At some point you will find it's neither within nor without. It's a kind of everywhere. At first it's a question of what is within myself, and put my attention there and start listening. It's like, what's my experience? What's my experience? Not what am I supposed to feel, or what have I read in all these spiritual books and all these teachers and friends and Sangha members say what I'm supposed to feel and see and taste. No, just throw that all out the window for now. Just what's your experience? Because this is your life with your experience, your way of being, your way of seeing, your way of tasting through your vehicle, your body. So At first, number one is you go inside, you close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open, but it's often easier, at least in my experience, to first listen, go in and listen. What is here? And then often first there's, tends to be some conditioning, some thought party. Let's call it the thought party. It's a thought party, all kind of thoughts flying around. There's neither here nor there. It's neither right or wrong. It's just a thought party. That's what's happening. But then, as we did today with starting with the meditation, when you just go in first and follow the breath, that's what's natural, because the breath is natural. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting up, all of us, if breathing wouldn't happen. We would be all like dead, a corpse. So the more we are tuning into the naturalness that's here, if that's breathing, so then it's breathing, because the breath always is here. When you're in that natural way of being, and you can first just kind of listen to breathing and how she travels in and out. And that naturalness, when we start connecting with nature, with the naturalness, with truth, what nature is, then all of us becomes this nature. We start, wherever we put our attention, that's what we get. So when we get the naturalness of breathing, then that will affect our whole state of being. That becomes naturally natural. Yeah. And it's the same, like I live close by the ocean. When I go to the ocean, when I look around, it's all natural. The sounds are natural. The air, the smell in the air is natural. All the senses get filled with the naturalness of being. And when we get filled with the naturalness of being, the natural way of being, then all the garbage naturally also leaves us. If there's a flood of thoughts, our thought party, that will come and then kind of will be taken by the ocean, by the sky, by the sand. It will be taken. It's like consciousness takes the garbage. And then what is being revealed is nature. And without, of course, it's already there, then realize, but also it will touch nature inside, the naturalness inside. And then more and more we are just one, connected and one with our surroundings. So satsang, the truth of our being, brings us in contact with nature, with our own true nature. And so often first the doorway in, the portal in, is the breathing. And then when we stay long enough with breathing, then naturally, you will probably hear me say this many, many times, this word naturally. And truly, naturally, then the mind will open up and kind of starts calming. And then naturally the heart will open up. Or chances the heart will open up, will get bigger naturally. Because there's a space made. And when there's a space made of by resting, then naturally all the skin, all of life opens up. That kind of tenderness that starts opening up. And it's the same in meditation. When we take time, and it's kind of like, out of our minds we come in and we start descending. So then naturally from our heads kind of be chopped off slowly when we're breathing, and more we come into the body, more and more into the heart, more and more into the belly, into the womb. And when I talk about the womb, it's not only the females that have a womb, males have a womb too. It's just an energetic sense of home. So it's like entering into your own home. What's natural? Yeah, it's in the womb or in the gut, in the belly. It's all the way down. And And then naturally, the silence of our being will be revealed. It will come to the forefront. So we can do meditation and get into a technique and start working really, really hard. I want to be still. I want to feel good. Because a lot of people meditate to feel good, to get less stress. And that's a wonderful side effect. But what I am talking about is to come into our natural state. Our natural state is very peaceful, is very much at ease, is always here, is always resting, and always available, and totally unconditioned. Absolutely, totally. It receives everything. It receives every thought party. It does. Obviously, because otherwise thoughts would have been stopped already a long time ago. It doesn't care if there are 10 million thoughts or just 2. Just we humans care about it because we think, when I'm spiritual, I'm not supposed to have some thoughts. It's nonsense, at least in my experience. Thoughts are here. There's nothing wrong with a thought. It's just a little bit unhandy when you start believing them. Yeah. That's more the crux of it. Thoughts come, feelings come, everything comes. But the moment we start believing our thoughts that that's more important than resting into our being, then we are a little bit in trouble. Yeah, because then we put our attention on thinking instead of being. And then the more and more we start resting into our natural, in our true nature, into our beingness, into the presence of being, the more we make that our home, the more we spend time there, then this presence that naturally will reveal in the form of sensations or thoughts, it will pop out a thought or an idea or an image to show you something. Yeah. So there's something different about just the circling thoughts. That's something that's repeating itself all the time. As they found in research, in psychology research, I probably say the number wrong, but that every day there is something like, 50,000 thoughts. And of those 50,000 thoughts, I think there are 490,000 thoughts every day, the same thoughts. So it's kind of amazing. So, but the more and more you start sinking into being, into resting, into being in the presence of being, into your true nature, the more the circling thought naturally will stop, and more kind of thoughts or images are directly given by this presence that you are, by this love that you are, to show you, inform you for whatever you need in that moment. And that's actually also so beautiful, because the more you trust being more than your mind, because we're all trained to trust our minds. It's kind of a pity. But truly, spirituality is basically a training to learn to trust the unknown, this being that you are, more than anything else, any mind fuck, I would say, basically. Then, so when we start learning to sink in more deeply into being and learning to be comfortable with not knowing, with the unknown, then she can inform us. She can whisper in our ears what wants to happen, or she can give a sense in our wombs to show what wants to happen, or in our hearts. And she can show us that. So the more we're emptied of our stuff, the more she, it, that, whatever you call it, can start living as you. Yeah. So, and that's really the spiritual process is, and in my experience, it happens a lot in meditation. And of course, also through life itself. Life is the biggest teacher. So life, if you know you're on board, that you want to be free all the way through, whatever that means, then life will help you. Because life is your own true nature. So when you have a deep longing inside to be free, then your true nature, your own self, your own true self, will put anything in front of your nose to come free. Not to bug you, but to free you. Yeah. So a lot of people, I was speaking the other day in Portland, a lot of people feel what's in our way sucks. But you know, what's in our way is the way. What's in front of our noses, what is happening right now in our lives, that is the way. That will help you to empty you of anything that's not needed. That's anything, because anything that can come and go is basically illusion. Yeah. Anything that's always here, which is your true nature, which is reality, that's permanent. But anything else that comes and goes is illusion. It comes and goes. Yeah. So I just want to see what is a helpful example of my own life. Well, some of you have heard me speak about the illness that I'm born with. And that, you know, we all have our gifts in our lives. That's my gift given in a wonderful wrapping paper. So that's over the last, I would say, 40 years has helped me to empty me of anything that doesn't serve me anymore. You know, I can try to get rid of the illness, but of course I tried. And try not to feel the discomfort, which I tried. I tried anything as far as I know under the sun. But mostly from day one, I felt gifted. I think I'm very lucky that I had that I felt gifted with this gift. Because I knew it was a gift for some reason. I knew that. So mostly I've been able to take that as a gift. And this gift has helped me to free me of fear of death. This has helped me constantly to be in this moment, because if I'm not, there's discomfort. There's something, can see myself going into my mind. But the moment I fully say yes of my experience, what's, you know, part of the illness is that my belly is quite big because the kidneys grow quite big. So there's like 2 big balls in my belly. I can think about it, well, gee, shit, I don't want this, but that doesn't really help very much. It's just there. So the discomfort of that is there, that it's just full there in my belly. And the more I say yes to that, the more I just taste the experience of it, not go in my head. You know, I can think I don't want this. I can think really hard I don't want this, but it won't change anything, right? So the only thing I can do, I can do many things. And truly the only thing that is natural is to say hello to that. It's like, oh, hello, you're a little big in size. This is what's here. And experience that. And the more I experience the bigness and fullness, then these kidneys can be just big and full as they are. There's nothing much they can do about it. They're just big and full. That's how they are. So then the whole inner family becomes a happy family, because everybody can be themselves. My kidneys can be big and be themselves and are not beaten up because they need to be something else. And other organs or other parts of Marlies, they can be themselves because they also want to be themselves. Yeah. So, and then everybody can be in their natural state wherever they are. It doesn't look like the natural state as it's supposed to be, what you read in an anatomy book, you know, how it exactly needs to look. It doesn't look like that, you know. It just looks as it looks in this body, in this mind, in this time and space. So the more that's fully received, the more I am emptied of any thought, idea, feeling, sensations, how it is supposed to be. It's a waste of time to go to supposed to be's or what I want. So that all is out of the window. It's just gone. So now there's just pure being here, in resting in this body, exactly as this body and mind is. This body and mind is constantly changing, as body and minds do. They change constantly. They get big, they get small, they get taller, they get full, they get emptied. They're constantly changing. And there's something that's not changing. That's my being. This presence. This presence doesn't care a single bit if my kidneys are big or small, if I have 10 billion thoughts or one thought, if my heart is full or empty. It doesn't care. It just ising. And the more I can be in the ising of being, the more being can fully bring that ising in every cell of my body. And every cell of my body, no matter what it looks like, is filled with the radiance of being, with the radiance of love, with the radiance of presence. And it shines every day in her way, because it comes through this body, as it will come through your body. Yeah. And last night, so I started actually dialysis like a few weeks ago, and first they teach you how to do dialysis by hand without a machine, and that was great. And so last night I had, for the first time, as they call it, a cycler. So that is a dialysis machine, and so that was really cool. And we're first kind of finding ways so that it's tuned in the exact way as it needs to be tuned in, because basically fluid is being put in my body, in my belly, so to speak, and that pulls out toxins, and then 2 hours later the fluid is naturally taken out by the machine. So that happens like 3 or 4 times in the night, a certain amount. But when it's emptied, then sometimes there's pain. So every 2 hours I woke up because of the pain, because the machine empties me. And then when it's empty, the machine doesn't officially know, or at least her belly is now empty, doesn't need to be more emptied. So that's still like fine-tuning what needs to happen. So I can think like, oh shit, fuck, I wake up every 2 hours with pain. It brings only more energy, just energy that's a waste of energy. So I knew I was going to wake up every few hours, because the machine doesn't know yet where my limit is of being empty. So I woke up, pain, oh man, that hurts. And then, I need to do something, and then it gets a little less, and then, okay, at some point the machine gets it. And then it will start giving me the next load of fluid to come in. And I remember laying there like, wow, I'm curious, I fall asleep again. And then I hadn't even thought the thought, and then I had fallen asleep. But I could also have waken up like, this sucks, this machine, it doesn't even know it, it hurts. I could have gone all in that and wasting my energy with that, instead of seeing this is just how it is. There's just pain right now. I need to close this thing so the machine gets it, and then I can open it again, and the machine gets it and can put in some new fluid, and then hopefully I fall asleep. I did. And then a few hours later, the same thing happens. So, but it's kind of life, I happen to have my life with my machine now. It's kind of funny. And but we all have our thing in our lives that we kind of, rather have not. I'd rather have not a machine. I'd rather be independent of a machine, but that's just how it is. And so we have all things in our lives that we like and we don't like. It's not about what we like and don't like. It's not what's taken away from us and what's given to us. That's natural. What life gives us and what life takes away from us. That's the gift of life. That's the love of life. That's the beauty of life. And the more we can say yes to that, the more life rejoices. And actually we rejoice too, because we don't have this fight with life anymore. We just have yes and take it as a gift, however big the gift is. Because the bigger the gifts, really what happens, it more and more demands your true nature to be there. So when there is a certain hardship, it also demands more presence. It demands more resting. And the more you have practiced already to rest as being, the easier it is to stay resting as being, no matter what happens on the screen. No matter what happens on the screen. Because there will be happening great things in your life with incredible pleasure. And there will happen terrible things with terrible suffering. It will happen. You don't have to worry about it. It will come and it will happen and it will go and it won't happen and it will happen again. But how much can you stay home in yourself? That's the question. How much can you stay resting into being that you are? Yeah. It's not about I'm dissociating. No, I'm just resting as being here always, no matter what happens. I rest. I be here. Ising. So even while you're listening, just notice that this presence, this being, is still here. It's coming out of your eyes, coming out of your ears, coming out of your heart. Resting presence is here. Being is here. It cannot not be here. And being is the most natural state possible. And that's what we're going for in spirituality, is the natural state of being. And the more we taste and experience the natural state of being, the less it will be a taste, the less it will be an experience. It will go all way experience. It will just become you. When you are being, it's not an experience anymore. Because an experience kind of has like two to it, like I experience love, I experience this. No, then you are it. You are your true nature realized. You are that. So the one thing I want to say, what I said already before, is like, please trust life. That if you want to live as your true nature, as this love, then life will give you what you need to get there, as she really does. Yeah. That means for some of us, we have huge traumas. For some of us, we have huge pleasures. We don't know. It's not because you're bad or because you're good. We're all good. We are all that goodness, because awareness, presence equals goodness. We are goodness. All is good. The scenery can look like a mess, and still we are that goodness. So take what happens in your life, take it to heart, take it as a gift, take it as an opportunity to more deeply rest as this love that you are, as true nature that you are. No? Because the love, it's incomprehensible. It really is. It's totally incomprehensible. And luckily, we don't have to understand that. It's a waste of time to try. And if understanding needs to come, it will come. And if not, it won't. However hard you fight, it won't. No. So the more, at least in my experience, the more you take time to rest as your true nature, through meditation, through going into nature. You know, nature is true nature, right? It's natural. And that naturally touches your true nature. When you have a lot of thoughts going on, or you've been really very activated or very emotional, stop what you're doing. Go into nature. If there's a park in your neighborhood, or an ocean, or forest, or some nature, go. Lay on the ground. Or look into the sky. She always helps to bring you home. And that's all we want. We all want to be home. Because we all know in our hearts that we are this love. We all know that. Or perhaps you don't call it this love, your true nature. Perhaps you call it being, or whatever you call it. We all know that. In our hearts of hearts, we know that. It's just, can we live as that in every moment, at every situation, at all times? So, I think that's what I wanted to say. I think that's enough for now. So, if you have any questions or anything you want to share, I welcome you to unmute yourself and join me in a conversation. And we see what wants to happen naturally. It's quiet everywhere, huh?
Hi, Marlise. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
It's Jana.
Hi, Yana.
I just so appreciate what you're saying about. I've talked with you before about my relationship with my body and feeling that it has to look a certain way in order for me to feel good and to feel, just old conditioning, cultural conditioning. And it's just been a real struggle to come with that. Like, if I don't look a certain way, it doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Or exploring that. And so I love what you're saying. The other day you were in Portland and you started the Satsang off with us, just like you did this morning, about feeling into our bodies. And I had this sensation of like, oh, my body, it's so good to me. Like it's like there was a shift of, instead of seeing it as aging and, like how it doesn't measure up, which, cognitively I know one thing. How I feel Uh-oh. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
The video is just being weird.
Hmm.
Anyway, and so feeling into my body as, like you were talking about with your kidneys, that, well, maybe you could talk more about it. That it's, I know, that it isn't, my body's going to look one way or another. It's aging. It's going to, it's going to be what it's going to be. And, but I can start to feel a shift into what's holding that, which is, doesn't care. And that, it just, I'm starting to experience that shift to what's there that doesn't care at all what, and then shifting into this love relationship with my body. Like, it's so good to me. Like, look what it's done. It carries me around every day. And it's, it's me. And that's just new. I'm just like, wow, how did I not appreciate this? Instead of before, like, appreciating it when it looked good, like, oh, okay, this is good. Or where it didn't look good, like, oh my God, this is awful. And into like a new paradigm with it. And so the things you've been saying have really helped me make that shift.
Wonderful. Because then you're in a whole different perspective, huh?
Yes, it's so much better. It's so kind.
Yeah.
I feel it was so mean.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like want to go and I want to apologize to it.
Yeah, so do that. Take your time. It's really very powerful to apologize and to speak with your body and speak with organs, because they do answer. They feel. They're like little entities in your body. And the more you connect it with it, as you are doing, the more you become one with it. And the thinking mind, because the thinking mind is just mostly like judging, like, exactly what you're saying. That's thinking mind, that little self, that's what falls away. So you get the direct taste of your experience of your body, not your thought about your body, but your experience. Yeah. And men as well as women have a lot of judgment about their bodies, because the bodies are supposed to be a certain way, are supposed to look a certain way, supposed to whatever. We fed that every day. But when we actually taste our experience, our bodies are actually pretty cool. So yeah, please, if you feel moved to apologize to it, take time and do that. And then you will be able to love it more and listen. Listen to your body. When you listen, it will speak. I'm happy to hear that, Jana.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a relief.
It's really, it's very sweet.
Yeah, I can feel it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Okay, I'm going to mute myself now.
Yeah, good.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be here.
It's fun to see everyone, huh? Hey. Hi. You too. So I want to speak to that a little bit, what you were saying, Jana, because I had, just to tell a little bit about my kidney story. At some point, what is now June? I think it was about a year ago. Yeah, I think about a year ago in the summer, I was not doing that well and was bedridden. And then at some point, I asked my kidneys, like, okay, what do you think? If if we do a kidney transplant, if there would be a third kidney, what do you think? And I had no expectations, but it was really funny what happened. I heard them scream like, yes, yes, yes. And they were like, how do you say it? Like putting their arms in the sky, like, yes, yes. And it just cracked me up. And they were like, great idea. It's like, okay. So then I asked my liver, because those are the two challenges. So I asked my liver, so what do you think if we will have a third kidney, and a new kidney, a transplant? And I heard this deep voice, yes, very good idea. I was laying in my bed and I was just laughing. And so, if it's a mind fuck or not, doesn't matter. But in the moment, it felt so natural and true. And so when we truly, in a very genuine way, start connecting with our bodies, really just listening, she speaks, or it speaks, he speaks, these bodies speak. It's just your true nature speaking. It will always speak. It has spoken already many times to you. It's just we brush it away because we don't want to listen to it. Because we have our own mindsets and our own ideas. What's not always too fruitful. Okay, yeah, thank you for your input. Anybody else that wants to ask a question?
Hi, Marlies.
Hey.
My name is
Joanne.
Hi.
Joanne, yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and it's wonderful to see you because I have spoken with you over the phone, but not.
Yes. And
yeah.
I think it was in Boulder. I saw you when you came.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So, I wanted, some input on what you're sharing in terms of the body speaking, because is that also, because my experience has been that tends to be at times something like phenomena that comes and goes. I had a time period a few months ago where I could ask my heart chakra anything, and there was really strong answers, and they were really accurate. And at the time, I just, like wanted to fall to my knees in gratitude for that unity inside. But then that diminished. So I have a sense of, of intuitive knowing, but that phase of really strong physical response has diminished. So I wondered if you can talk about that.
Yeah, so there was a period. So what is here now? What's remaining right now in your experience?
Well, now it's a sense of, it's not as prominent. It's a sense of like universal. The physical sense is vaster knowing.
Yeah.
But in circumstances where there's noise stimulation, I have a hard time, tracking it.
I understand. Yeah. But what I do here is there is a deeper connection with the vastness, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where you need to put your attention. That's where you just need to rest. Because if these so-called, which was very beautiful, that the messages from your heart chakra, so to speak, you got them when you needed them. In the moment, it sounds it's not what you need. it sounds more what is important to really rest as this vastness. So then this vastness, it will show you or answer your question or answer what you need in the moment for what is needed. Yeah. So exactly what you say, these are phenomena that come and go, you know. It's very potent in the moment when it's the truth of your true nature to ask that question. But then because we have these experiences, oh wow, these are great things that working really well. So I now are going to ask always these questions to my heart chakra. And boom, you know, what's happening here? It's gone. You know, but that's because the mind is going to make something of it. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you can, I mean, you can if you want to hold on to it, but it doesn't work, obviously.
No.
So take this vastness that's growing in and on you. Take that as your home. Take that as your voice, so to speak. And wait till that starts speaking, because it will in its own time. Not necessarily always in words, but it sounds that that's more where you're located. So keep locating there till you're completely, absolutely, totally located there. And it will give you whatever you need. But let the past go of these answers that you needed in that moment that were given to you. And now it's past, it's gone. Yeah. And if there's anything else that needs to be given to you, it will be. If not, I won't.
Well, and, you know, if at times, well, a lot of times, I feel like I walk this, you know, tight wire a lot recently, where that vastness and that stillness and wisdom, it's really wisdom. There are times where it's just a very subtle balance versus falling out into conditioning and reactiveness, and that still happens, but the I don't know how to put this, like the touchstone is like a very thin like tightrope, where it's not always accessible when there's external stimuli.
Yeah. And that's the learning. That's the learning. It's like, oh wow, there is a certain emotion. I'm triggered right now. You know, there's nothing wrong with being triggered. I don't think there's anybody on this planet that has never been triggered. I mean, I haven't met anybody that has never been triggered. You know, being triggered or having experiences, it's human. Yeah. So when there is a trigger, just be triggered and experience that trigger to the fullness or your capacity. I'm not telling about acting it out, the trigger. I'm speaking about, can you fully experience that trigger and let it vibrate in your body? And the more you are capable of letting the vibration of the trigger vibrating, not the story about it so much as it is the vibration it does in the body, the more the vastness will be right there to be that space in which this vibration can vibrate till it's done vibrating, till it can give whatever information it needs to give to you for it to be itself. Because it needs to vibrate till it's done vibrating. It's very natural. So the more and that's just a learning. Because more and more you can hang out in the spaciousness of being, in this utmost presence, the more vibration can be itself too, and vibrate and do what it does till it's done. Perhaps it will be done or not. Does that make sense?
Yes, because that's kind of the tightrope.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then even the judgment about it will go away, and that will give the tightrope is not so tight anymore. Yeah. It's just vibration that needs to vibrate till it's done vibrating.
Okay. Very good.
So especially in triggers or in trauma, there is a quality that needs to vibrate, and it needs the utmost love and care of this space that we are, this love that we are. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Sinks in, eh?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great to meet you, Joanne.
Thank you.
I'm actually coming to Boulder in the summer, in August.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, very good news.
Yeah.
So look forward to that.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Freedom is not that there is no sensation, no thinking, no feeling, no body, even though when we wake up to our true nature, we wake up out of this identity of I have a body, then, I have no body, no tongue, I'm not this body, I'm not this feelings, blah, blah, the whole thing, I'm not that. But that's just the beginning taste. Later we start realizing like, oh shit, I'm actually also this body. I'm also this mind. I'm also this whole garbage, the whole thing. I'm also that too. And the more we can experience whatever this body mind is experiencing, the direct experience, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just experiencing sadness, sensation, happiness, sadness, the whole thing. It's what falls away is this extra layer on top of it. That's oh, this shouldn't be there. Oh, this should be there. Why don't I still am sad. I'm still angry. There's machinery. That machinery. That's what falls away. That's what dies away. That's what's freedom. Yeah? The freedom, you're free of this extra voice garbage that's just unnecessary. And then you're more and more in the direct experience of life itself. Anybody else that wants to share or ask a question or
Yeah, I wanted to share something.
Yeah.
The process of my dog dying, and I had a session with you, a little time with you recently, and so it's not a question really, it's just a sharing that there's this kind of shift to let unfold what wants to unfold, like a surrender, without giving up responsibility, and always keeping tuning in to what needs to happen. And it's been huge, and so that's one thing. So there's not the layering on of the responsibility of his suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And also, of course, I'm having painkillers and he's fine, and the other thing is that it's made the whole process, I've been able to deepen in the process because of that. Mm-hmm. So there's, in a way, there's emotions come and go, but there's also a deepening into something bigger,
mm-hmm.
And it's always this great mystery door to meet death, that you don't know what's behind it, and it's a one-way door. Mm-hmm. But there's also the connecting with his being, and knowing that in some way I feel that his being will live on, that cannot mm-hmm. go, mm-hmm. And it's just letting go of the personal, having gotten to know him and be with him. And now he's going to be released into this vastness. And we don't know if we meet again or not, but that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. So I don't know, maybe you have something to share about death and dying.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I know it's a big subject, but
yeah.
Is there anything that you wanted to talk about or that would be helpful maybe?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, it's a relief when you can let go into the situation. Yeah. When you fall in love with the situation, how the situation wants to unfold, on the dying, again, naturally wants to unfold. Yeah. Well, around death and dying, it's, when a loved one dies, if it's a dog or a cat or your partner or your husband or your wife or your child or anything or anyone, the number one thing that is important to know that they are true nature, they are this love as you are this love. Be the wholeness. And we had spoken about that. And so that when we see and know that makes a huge difference. Then that we're only busy that this person is dying. Really, the body is dying. The being is not dying. The body is dying. The being is here. The being cannot die. It's impossible. It's always here. It doesn't matter. That's why it's so important to wake up to your true nature, to this being, while you're still alive. Because then when this body drops, the body drops. And that's sad that the body drops. It is sad. It brings sadness. It also brings joy. Because it's like all the times we were together in love, as these two body beings, That's to be rejoiced. But we can rejoice that more and more when we know that this being is not dying. The body is dying. And you can really get that when you are with somebody that's dying. I worked with dying people for many years, people dying. And you can just see that the bodies die. They obviously drop. The being, you can feel the being is not dying. The being is here. They just go in another space, And so that's kind of the ground of being, to know that when we are alive and when we die. So also what can happen very easily in spirituality is exactly this thing. It's like, well, nothing happens, nobody dies, it's all okay, no big deal, what are you worried about? No. In our humanity, we get a little attached to certain persons, certain animals, certain things. That's just being human. And the more and more you're resting into being, the less attachments there are. To me, getting attached is healthy. First, to get a commitment of coming together, a commitment of falling in love, I would say. That brings a healthy attachment. It brings a healthy coming together. It's a healthy attachment as we talk about it in psychology. That's very different than in spirituality. You shouldn't be attached. Well, the fact is we're all attached. And because we need to have some healthy attachment. So when you have an attachment with your dog or cat or your partner, that's healthy. That brings through commitment. We have this healthy connection that is there. What is important to know when the body drops away, that connection is still there. That connection is there independent of the body. Yeah. Doesn't mean we're not connected to the body also. Of course, when my former husband and I separated, it's kind of like a death. There was sadness. Of course, there's sadness. There was also intense happiness because of separating. So it's a whole combination. Or when so many people around me also died, and there's happiness and sadness. There's the sadness of them going and missing this form, because this form was so wonderful to be with, or perhaps sometimes it's not so wonderful to be with. But the luck is that because of the love is so deep, when the love is so deep, then there is also the sadness, because we have been loving each other. The love, we have been touched so deeply in our souls by each other. And just knowing that connection, that being connection, that will not die. That cannot die. It's always here. It will be here, no matter you're in the form or not. So I don't know if that's helpful to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It also reminds me of different times when I remember when my father was dying. I was taking care of him, and he wanted to, for some reason, he wanted to die in the hospital, because he wanted to die in the same hospital where my mom died. And so I brought him to the hospital, and he knew that's where he wanted to die. And so I went every day to be with him, and sometimes lay in bed with him. And but I remember the last evening, it was actually New Year's Eve. In Dutch, in Holland, we call it Old Year's Eve, Oudejaarsavond. And he said, just go be with your friends. I said, well, I don't want to be with my friends. I want to be with you. And I said, okay, I will go. But basically it took me hours to leave him behind, because I knew in my heart it would be the first time to see him alive. And but he wanted me to go. And I said, okay. So we said goodbye like 10 billion times when we had done already. So I went to be with friends in Amsterdam, and we had in Holland, we had at midnight, you have a big meal at least with my friends. So we had a big meal, and I was then after that I went home and I went to sleep. I really wanted to go with him, but he didn't want me to come. I knew he just wanted to have space to just die by himself, not his daughter hanging on to him. And I was at home, and then in the morning the nurse called me and said, he's dying, you really want to come? So I called my brother. I said, okay, let's go to the hospital. And my brother said, okay, I pick you up. And then we go. And I said, no, I just want to go because I know he's going to die really soon. He said, can you please wait for me? Can you please have me pick you up? So we go together. I said, okay. And so I waited for my brother. And the moment I stepped into the car with my brother, I said, he's dying right now. And my brother is kind of like, okay, whatever, And I said, no, I know he's dying right now. I feel it. So then that moment he was going. I could feel him going into space and just going. And just letting him go, okay, bye dad, just go. And then when we arrived in the hospital, exactly that moment that I knew he was dying, he had died. And so wherever we are, we know in being what's happened with the other being. We can connect with them, no matter if they're in their bodies or not. Yeah. And that happened then with my dad too, and with other people too. So please know, for all of us, death is just a change of skin, so to speak. It's just a little change of body. And the being doesn't change. It's just here. It's just being forever. Cannot be not like that. Okay. So yeah, thank you for your question. Thank you. Anybody else before we close for today? More questions or sharing or please turn all your, have it all on mute. I heard some sounds. Yeah, thank you. Oh, somebody wants to ask a question. Kristen. Okay, let me see. Can you unmute Kristen?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sort of with that question about death of the body-mind, dealing with my father, who is in fact having some cognitive issues. So looking at the confusion and the sort of that look, a little bit of panic for him, you know, and he's not very far along with it. So he gets what's happening and he's pushing it away.
Mm-hmm.
And how, you know, for watching his wife and I have a half sister who's much younger, and you know that, and for my own response to that, it is a big trigger in lots of ways to watch this man who's been, you know, this very intellectual and very little spiritual grounding really, or connection to that sense of awareness, pure consciousness, whatever. So how, you know, the being present and the trying to want to make that connection when there's so much resistance, probably in both of us to some extent. And if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah. So what's very helpful to, first of all, see him as wholeness. Yeah. So because what you see, of course, is his discomfort, because that's in the forefront. So see what it's like. Okay, let him be. It's uncomfortable because it is for some people very scary and uncomfortable. Can you let him feel that, and then simultaneously see his wholeness, because his spirit is still here. Yeah. So the more you are connected in you with the wholeness, the more you're able to connect with his wholeness. Yeah. So then it's easier to hold his hand and just, you know, say, hey, Dad, I'm here with you. Or not even in words, but in a felt sense. Yeah. So then you're not so much dealing with the hardship, you're more dealing with the wholeness. And then there's a bigger chance that something can relax a little bit in him. Yeah. So the more you see him as a wholeness, and you can also do that just at home.
Yeah.
When he's not even around, you just hold him in wholeness and just say, Dad, I love you, or whatever truth is the truth for you. And just to let him know in spirit, I see you. I see your soul. I see your heart. I know your heart. You're my dad. You know, the more you hold that inside, the more that will start resonate in him, and that can come to the forefront.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even people, I don't know what's going on in his mind for him, but I've worked with people with Alzheimer's, or had a very close friend that didn't have Alzheimer's, but a brother or sister of Alzheimer's, and he, you know, he was like out there. But the moment I connected with him from this being, he was immediately there. Not the whole time, obviously, but he could feel it. Like something was different. And then his whole demeanor was completely calm.
Yeah. Yes, because it's not a desire so much to bring back what was there, but that desire to connect with his stillness and have some sense of, for him, more calmness or less fear, less,
course. So the more you see and feel him as wholeness and as the beauty that he is, the more naturally something will calm.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Resonates, huh?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Good. So yeah, so play with that and see what happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here. And those are wonderful last questions, because take that all home with you. The more you know yourself as being, the more you can see each other as that same being. And we start relating to each other from beingness instead of like humanness only. The humanness is always there. But the more you see your friend, your neighbor, or this person you don't like, more you see them, that they know, they're the same being that you are. We're all made from the same, we are that. So even when you have stuff going on with a friend or something with your deepest beloved partner, before you go into the clash, take a moment, or even together, take a moment, if that's possible. Let's just, before we start going into each other's hairs, let's just take a moment, be quiet here, and just let it vibrate inside ourselves. And then feel the goodness also that's in me, because I know that's in you, even though I don't quite see it right now, but I know it's there too. And then it's easier to start relating, because we are all that love. We just are. We cannot not be that. So take that home with you. And before we close, and before Dita says some things also, is like, take a moment right now to bring your attention to your heart. And see if you can open your heart even more than it was already. And open your heart to all the people that are here online, if you can see them or not. And then, if possible, stretch out your heart even further to all beings in all worlds. And whatever we have been doing here together, take a moment to let all beings in all worlds get a taste and benefit of us coming together. So take a moment to radiate that to all beings in all worlds, to be touched by the goodness of being. And let that go. And it's been wonderful to be with all of you. It's always wonderful. I'm very grateful we can do this through the Zoom. It's just wonderful. And it's a delight to see you all. And I want you to know I will be traveling more now, because I have my little machine now that I can use. So actually, you will see in my calendar, I will be going to Chicago. I will be going to Boulder, coming back to Portland. It's all on the calendar. And I will be offering a satsang here in Santa Cruz too, and a one-day retreat. And other places will be added in the future. And we'll be offering a erotic meditation retreat in August again with Lynn. Those are really beautiful. You can attend there as a single person, as a couple. And I will be offering another Sacred Sexuality retreat also. I don't have a date yet, but it will probably happen somewhere in October. And probably start offering another silent retreat, but that's on the makes. So thank you all. I don't know if Ditte, if there's anything you would like to add before we close, and I'll say goodbye. Thank you.